It is Tuesday morning, 5 a.m., the time when the heavy rumble of garbage trucks usually echoes through the city streets. But today the streets are silent. The trucks are parked in the depots, keys removed, gates locked. You walk out of your apartment building to put a bag on the curb, expecting it to be gone by noon. But when you come back at 6 p.m., the bag is still there, joined by 10 others from your neighbors. This is not a holiday delay. This is the sanitation strike, a total cessation of waste management services globally. In this simulation, we explore what happens when the 2 billion tons of trash humans produce every year has nowhere to go. To understand the scale, you have to realize that New York City alone produces 12,000 tons of trash every single day. That is enough garbage to fill the Empire State Building entirely every 2 weeks. Let's enter this collapse through the eyes of Tony, a veteran sanitation worker in the Bronx. He is sitting at home, watching the news, knowing that the contract negotiations have failed and the strike is indefinite. He knows the math better than anyone. A city is a living organism that eats resources and excretes waste. If you plug the exit, the organism gets sick and dies within days. By day 3, the Sidewalk mountains begin to form, transforming the geography of the city. The designated trash areas are full, so people start piling bags on the sidewalks, leaving only a narrow path to walk. The smell begins to change the atmosphere. The sweet, rotting scent of decomposing food attracts the first wave of invaders. Flies. Millions of them. They cover the black bags like a shimmering green carpet, laying billions of eggs. You try to open your window for fresh air, but the smell is so thick it tastes like metal and rot. Restaurants continue to generate massive amounts of food waste, piling it in alleys that become impassable. By day 7, the rat explosion begins, triggering a primal fear in the population. Rats usually hide in the shadows, but with unlimited food on the streets, they become bold and aggressive. Tony watches from his window as a pack of rats tears open a bag in broad daylight, feasting on leftover pizza. The rat population in NYC is estimated at 2 million. With this food supply, it begins to double every few weeks. You are walking home, and you hear the rustling of thousands of tiny claws inside the plastic mountains next to you. A rat runs across your shoe. You realize that the city no longer belongs to humans. It belongs to the rodents. By day 14, the Leachate Crisis turns the streets into toxic rivers when it rains. Leachate is the liquid that squeezes out of rotting garbage, a poisonous soup of bacteria, heavy metals, and chemicals. It rains overnight. The water mixes with the trash juice and flows into the storm drains, clogging them instantly. The streets flood with a mixture of rainwater and garbage slime, entering basements and subway stations. Tony knows that this sludge is flammable because rotting trash produces methane gas. If a spark hits a pocket of methane trapped under a pile of bags, the sidewalk can literally explode. By month 1, the great burning begins as people run out of space and patience. Desperate to get rid of the waste, residents start setting fire to the piles of trash on their blocks. But plastic and chemically treated furniture do not burn cleanly. They release black, choking smoke. The city is covered in a toxic smog of dioxins and furans, carcinogens that scar the lungs permanently. The fire department is overwhelmed. They put out 1 trash fire and 10 more start on the next street. The fires spread to buildings. An apartment complex burns down because the fire trucks couldn't get through the trash-blocked streets. Hospitals see a surge in trash plague cases, typhus, leptospirosis, and hantavirus carried by the vermin. Doctors treat patients with rat bites on their faces, victims of rodents that invaded homes in search of more food. By month 3, the vertical trap makes high-rise living impossible for the second time, like the blackout. The garbage chutes in skyscrapers are clogged all the way to the top floor, backed up with rotting waste. The smell inside the buildings is unbearable. People start throwing trash off balconies, creating trash avalanches below. Walking on the street becomes a death wish. A bag of kitty litter dropped from the 20th floor can kill you. Tony has moved his family to a tent in a state park, far away from the urban density. He realizes that civilization is defined by the distance between a person and their own waste. When that distance becomes 0, civilization ends. We revert to the conditions of medieval London. The economy collapses because tourism stops, offices close, and nobody wants to buy goods that create more trash. The packaging industry comes under attack. People realize that 50% of what they buy is just future garbage. You buy a toy, and it comes in a plastic clamshell inside a box, wrapped in plastic. Now you have to keep that trash. By month 6, the accumulation reaches the second-story windows of buildings in dense neighborhoods. The streets are gone. The city is a labyrinth of trash canyons, carved out by bulldozers pushing sludge aside. The government declares martial law and mobilizes the Army Corps of Engineers to clear supply routes. They use snowplows to push garbage into the rivers, creating an ecological disaster to save the city streets. The ocean turns into a floating landfill. Plastic islands wash up on beaches hundreds of miles away. Fish populations die off from the sudden influx of toxins, creating a secondary food crisis. By year 1, the architecture of the city has been fundamentally damaged by the weight and chemistry of the waste. The acidic leachate has eaten into the asphalt and concrete foundations of buildings. Ground floors are abandoned, claimed by the trash. Life moves to the rooftops, connected by makeshift bridges. We enter the Scavenger Age. Since new production has stopped, people mine the trash piles for resources. They dig for metal, glass, and hard plastics, cleaning them and trading them for food. Tony returns to the city as a waste miner, leading a crew that salvages copper wire from the debris. He sees value where others see filth. The trash mountain is a mine of raw materials, if you can survive the smell. We realize that waste is a modern concept. In nature, there is no waste. Everything is food for something else. We broke the circle. We created materials that nature cannot eat, and we piled them up until they ate us. The trash apocalypse forces humanity to redesign every product to be biodegradable or infinitely repairable. The era of single-use is looked back on as a time of insanity, a brief period where we treated the earth as a disposable cup. New laws mandate that every manufacturer is responsible for the disposal of their product. If you make a fridge, you have to take it back when it breaks. This changes the design of everything instantly. Things are built to last 100 years again, because nobody wants to deal with the corpse of a broken machine. Tony looks at the skyline, now clean but scarred, the mountains of trash finally cleared or buried. He knows that the garbage didn't just disappear, it was just moved to a new hiding place. We learned that there is no away. When you throw something away, it goes to a place where people like Tony live. And when Tony stops working, away comes to your front door and kicks it in. So, look at your kitchen trash can right now. It is probably full. A plastic bag holding your secrets. Imagine if you couldn't empty it. Imagine if you had to keep it in your living room. Then another bag tomorrow. And another. How long until your house is full? How long until you are sleeping on top of your own debris? The garbage truck is the only thing standing between you and the Middle Ages. Respect the men who drive them. They are the guardians of the gate.